Everyone sitting in the church this morning has come here from someplace else. Maybe somewhere close by, like Marblehead, Massachusetts, or maybe someplace halfway around the world. That got me thinking about travel and what we see along the way. As a child, I was well acquainted with the feeling of being packed into a car with my family and just being driven. Usually, I was given a nondescript destination, likely hours away, to a relative's house or something. After that, it was just shut up and get there. I was lashed into a car seat, and my parents drove my 4 siblings and I wherever we were expected to be. I never put much thought into exactly how our Toyota Sienna was actually going to get there, and I didn't care. I was just another piece of luggage. It wasn't travel, it was transportation. This isn't to say that those drives always went smoothly. On pretty much any drive longer than an hour and a half, I would empty the contents of my stomach onto whatever sidewalk or sibling was fortunate enough to receive them. I remember a particularly lucky house in my uncle's neighborhood where the speed limit abruptly went from a steady 65 to a winding and residential 25. It got me every time. But I always just got back into the car, excited to see my cousins. Whatever queasiness and strife inside me was gone with the chunks of hot dog, as the saying goes. It still wasn't travel. It was destination. My mother was always afraid of traveling with our entire family at once, for many reasons beyond my projectile motion sickness. If we were to fly anywhere and back, it would cost a fortune. And who in their right mind wants to drive 5 kids and all their stuff more than a state or 2? With these conditions at play, the longest trip I went on was with my dad to see his side of the family in Texas. These same issues of acceleration and deceleration followed me into the air, in case y'all were wondering. It was a long trip, all right, but it wasn't travel. In the summer of 2014, however, my mom had a change of thought. A huge, long family trip to Texas, halfway across the Kanto U.S. and back, in a minivan. You can imagine my excitement. This extravaganza would take 3 weeks and 3 boxes of Dramamine, taking me so much further into real America than I had ever been. This was travel. Our round-trip odyssey covered 3,400 miles, give or take a few dozen, but I measured it in wondrous places and memories. My family went from Newark, New Jersey, to Western Maryland, and from there voyaged through the mountains of West Virginia, through Louisville, Kentucky, Memphis, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas, on our way to see my grandparents in Dallas. We took the scenic route, stopping at as many regional restaurants, majestic overlooks, and national treasures as we saw fit. One of my favorites was an excursion to Mammoth Cave, the most expansive cave system in the world. To enter, I had to descend a cool, moist stairway carved into a shaft of limestone. The walls were covered in condensation and cave crickets the size of my 12-year-old palm, and spiders big enough to eat them. Once inside, I saw a collection of the biggest stalagmites, stalactites, and natural cathedrals this side of the Mississippi. I peered into chasms where I could only hear the rush of the underground rivers, and I could only imagine the life below. I was an adventurer. On the way back from Dallas, my parents veered off of the interstate and onto the Natchez Trace Parkway in Alabama, easily one of the most beautiful roads in America. It weaves through the state, through petrified swamps and pine forests overridden with kudzu. We stopped at a Native American monument, a man-made burial mound acres across. A couple miles up the road, there was a channel 15 yards wide, trampled down over thousands of years by the annual passage of buffalo. I wouldn't have noticed it if not for an informational sign. Most beautiful things go unnoticed from the air, and even from the interstate. There are a lot of frequent flyer miles in here this morning. So here's a thought for all of us travelers. These so-called flyover states, drive-by people, and same old school years have much more to offer than we think, if only we take our time and we take the scenic route. Thank you.